Everybody, my name is Holly Martinez, and you are joining the California Commission on the Status of Women and Girls Grant Funding Opportunity Training session. First, let me start off and let you know we have enabled closed captioning. So should anybody want that feature, please take a moment. You can click your More button and select the live transcript feature. Today's session, we have an hour and 30 minutes scheduled for today. Everyone will be remaining on mute for the presentation. We are recording this training and will make it available to the public. We will email it out to anybody who had registered for this training to access at a later point, which will have the translation feature in that transcript. For everybody here today, thank you for coming. We are requesting everyone to use the chat feature to submit any questions that they have about this grant funding opportunity as we go along. A member of our team will address your questions either immediately in the chat feature, or I will address them towards the end of the session where we're going to be going through some frequently asked questions. Should your question not get submitted or answered for the duration of this training, please email us at grants@women.ca.gov. That is where all questions are being submitted, and we immediately respond same day and update our frequently asked questions on our website at women.ca.gov, where you should see those answers reflected. We have a very robust agenda here for you today. Today, we are going to provide an overview. We're going to be talking about this grant funding opportunity, how to access it on the website, walking through each section of the application, discussing and reviewing our selection process, highlighting our timeline, and making space to answer any remaining questions you have. You're going to hear from the incredible members of the Women's Commission team, Darcy Totten, our Communications Director, and Tiffany Bartow, our Program Director. But to start us off, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the Chair of the California Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, Lauren Babb, who is a true community activist and advocate, and whose passion for women, we are so lucky to have her serve as a leader of our commission. So Lauren, with that, I will hand it over to you. And you should be able to, unmute yourself. Great, thank you.
Okay, no feedback. Can I get a thumbs up from anyone if it sounds okay? Okay, I see a thumbs up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you all are here and interested in taking our money, because that's the point. I'm Lauren Babb. I'm the chair of the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. Prior to this, I was on the Contra Costa Commission, so shout out to that local commission. But for more than 50 years, the commission has been tasked with identifying inequities in state laws and practices that affect women and girls in the state. And so our goal with this grant is to really focus on the recovery for women and girls in California. We recognize that the economic impacts on women of women of color and women in general is astounding. And so as we think about coming out of COVID, it is important for us to be able to resource those things that put women and girls first. So our team is just really incredibly excited about this grant opportunity. Please ask questions, please reach out to staff. My fellow colleagues and I, this is our first grant ever as the commission, so we ask for a little bit of grace for some of you all that have done this work many times with other departments and entities. But we are really thrilled about this opportunity to provide resources directly on the ground and in the community. So with that, best of luck with your applications. We're excited to read them. We're so happy that you're here. Please consider us a resource for any and everything that you're doing, even outside of this opportunity. We'd love to hear from you all and continue to uplift the good work that you're all doing. So thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it back to Holly to get into the stuff that you all care about. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Lauren. And as she had mentioned, this grant funding opportunity is really a part of our women's recovery response. At the commission, we saw a real need to be able to advocate to the legislature and the governor about providing dedicated resources that can help support women's economic recovery. So with that, we have $5 million available in one-time funding to be granted for the purposes of three main areas. One, to engage and strengthen existing local commissions to ultimately inform the development of what will be a statewide women's economic blueprint that the commission will be developing this spring. The other area is to improve representation of all women's voices throughout California through the creation of new commissions. And the third is to really provide direct services to support immediate relief. As we know, women have had much setback and challenges due to the pandemic, and recovery efforts are needed now more than ever. There are three areas of eligibility I wanted to emphasize on today's call. First, we know that there are local women's commissions that who are eligible to apply that are part of the existing or part of their local city or county government. The other eligible category is local government entity for the purposes of establishing a new women's commission or applying for the other grant funding categories that align with the mission of the regional or local women's commission. And the third category are statewide and local nonprofits who have established programming or services to support the mission and the work of the regional or local women's commission. We have received many questions about clarifying what a legal applicant is, as well as the opportunity for fiscal agents to apply on behalf of nonprofits and other organizations who are interested in this opportunity. So I wanted to take a moment to clarify that the legal applicant is the organization that is going to be held responsible for all of the requirements, deliverables, fiscal controls, reports, and any other requirement of the grant. They will represent the nonprofit or entity applying for that organization. So fiscal agents can, in fact, apply on behalf of the organization interested as the legal applicant for the proposal. So at this time, I want to kick it over to Darcy Totten, our communications director, to walk you through the actual application on the website so you can get a real peek at how to apply and where you can find all the important information. So Darcy, I'm going to let you share screen.
Thank you. Hang on, I'm just making sure I grab that last question. I am also the person snagging all the questions for later, folks. So bear with me, and if I miss you, hit me up again in the chat. All right, sharing. Little share button. It's taking its time. There we go. Can everybody see? Thumbs up? Okay, great. So this is the page on our website, and it is just women.ca.gov, Women's Recovery Response with dashes in between the words. And this will give you everything you need. It's all here. And if for whatever reason you cannot remember how to get here, you can actually access it from our homepage right here, just women.ca.gov. And you'll see this little thing right up here at the top. Click the button and that will get you right back to the page I was just at where all of the information is. So all you need to know is head to our website. We'll leave that up for the duration of applications, so it'll always be easy to find. So applications are open, really, really important. They are due by 4 p.m. on February 4th. However, and Holly will address this a little bit later, some of you have sort of outstanding issues with your counties or your city governments where you need to request an extension. You can do that by email. Again, to this email, this grants@women.ca.gov email. That is the email. And I just want to emphasize that we have all gotten some emails either to our personal work accounts, but also we found them in the info box, and that account is less guaranteed to get a quick reply. So please, please, please use the grants email account. That way we can guarantee that we are checking it hourly, and we'll get back to you much faster if you get your questions to that email account. So also, this is the page where today's recording will be, along with the transcript, and we'll have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. So anything that you need information-wise is going to be housed here. If you scroll down a little bit, you get application form. And if you click this button, you are able to download the application. So just briefly talking about the application itself, it's going to download in Word as a Word document. It's really important that you try to use the document in the format that it exists. Keep your words inside the text boxes, because what can sometimes happen is it'll reformat, or when you save it, it'll format if you have kind of a different, year of Word or what have you. And if you send it back to us reformatted, it can be incredibly hard to read. So I just wanted to address that up front. Try and make sure that you keep within the word limit, but keep your words inside the text boxes. They are designed to expand if they don't let us know. But they should expand to fit what you're writing. So you're going to fill out that form. In a perfect world, if you can, save it as a PDF before you re-upload. If you do have to send it back as a Word document, just try and make sure, again, that there's, say, space between the question and your answer, and that everything is, well formatted and easy to organize and read. Because I have a feeling we're going to be reading a lot of these. So that is where you get.
Hey, Darcy, I'm sorry. Yeah. Darcy, it's Tiffany. You have, there you go. It's off. Thank you.
Sorry, just lifting it up to make sure I hit everything I needed to get. So this is where you get the application form, and immediately below it is where you can submit it. So we designed this to be as simple as possible. There is not a big, brutal form to fill out. This is the extent of the form. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you are going to just drag and upload your completed form. So download it now, take your time with it, get it ready, and when you're ready to go, you're going to drag it in this area and click submit. It is subject, right, all the state things to public records. If there is other information you need, it is also still here. Our press releases will post here as they come out. We are still doing a public survey, which is now available in 5 different languages. If you are trying to get the word out about this program to your community, we have a whole social media toolkit with graphics and suggested posts that you can download right here. A little further down, we've got a map that will show you in purple. This is where we have records of existing county commissions. If we're missing one, please let me know. We want to add you to our map. A lot of the city commissions are within counties that already have them. So if we're missing a city that is out in a county that doesn't have one, let us know. We want to add you. And over here, you'll be able to contact those local commissions. That will come up later. People have asked sort of, how did you get it started? You are all a great resource for each other, and we want to make it easy for you to get a hold of each other. We also have a handbook. It is not California specific. It did come from the National Association of Commissions on Women. We do have their permission to post it. And just sort of the basics about how to get a local commission started, which is key because we've got funding for that. And if you scroll just a little further down, these are all the FAQs. So as we get them to email, if we get them more than once or twice, they go up here in this list. So most of the questions you might have are probably here. If your question is not here, please let me know, and we'll get back to you really fast with that. And if you get all the way to the bottom, sorry, it's a lot of scrolling. This is everything you need to know about how applications will be scored, including the rubric that we'll be using for scoring. We really want you to be successful in this, so we are trying to put everything as upfront and easy to find as possible. And if for some reason it isn't, you can email me. And that's it, Holly. I'm going to give it back to you and stop sharing here.
Great. Thank you, Darcy. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Thumbs up, Darcy, if you can see that. Great. So as Darcy had mentioned to you, we do have this map, which does outline where we have information and knowledge about local commissions to really visually demonstrate, I think, the intent behind this grant opportunity. One, you can see that all of the counties and cities within those counties who are purple really show, I think, a disparity and an equity in where local commissions currently do not reside. So you can see large swaths of Northern California, rural communities, inland communities, far south communities. We really want to look at this opportunity to figure out how do we recognize the importance of having local women's commissions give opportunity and voice to all women in California that can then ultimately bubble up and support future policy, program, and resource recommendations at the statewide level, which is the role of the commission, is to really advocate on behalf of women. And we can only do that as well as understanding the pulse and information and unique aspects of what's happening to all women throughout the state. So it starts with representation. And we know there's a lot of work ahead to connect and grow this diversity of representation. And we hope that this funding is a spark and a start to what will be many more commissions that represent our state. So this is the actual application that I have pulled up on my screen share. I'm going to dive in really quick to the different sections. The overview, which were the first few pages I highlighted in my initial remarks about eligibility and purpose. Please make sure you look over the program requirements and take note of this section to address any potential conflicts of interest, confidentiality, or labor code compliance issues. The first box, we are requesting the legal applicant information. Legal applicant, again, defined as the official organization applying for the grant and responsible for the delivery, compliance, and responsibilities of the grant award. We'd like for you to add a brief title for your proposal. It could be like Women for Santa Barbara County, or however it is you feel your proposal should be titled and recognized. We ask that you identify the type of organization that you are, and please refer back to the eligibility requirements to make that distinction. It's important to list your communities in which your current organization has a footprint, which counties, which cities does your organization currently serve. This is going to be important to understand the geographic distribution of these funds. We are also asking for you to provide information that is helpful to know about the history of your organization, as well as any recent defined as within the last 5 years of grants that you have received. Please make sure that you check and describe where there is an option in the boxes of any legal issues, audit findings, or fiscal control fiscal controls that you have in place that help us to really understand your ability and functions in-house to manage the state grant. As we move forward into this section of funding categories, there are 5 categories that we're funding for this grant opportunity. There's capacity building, communications, community engagement, direct service, and re-granting. Now, each has a different range of funding available within that category. You can apply for multiple categories of funding. The only exception that we have is if you are applying to create a new commission, you can only apply for capacity building category to really spend the dedicated time and investment needed to spark and start up and use this as a planning grant opportunity for this future organization. I do want to clarify, legal applicants can only submit one proposal. Multiple proposals by the same legal applicant will not be accepted. For each category, you will see there are prompts within the section that allows you to help develop and write your proposal. We are asking that there are maximum limits that you can write within each category. They're slightly different, so please pay attention to that instruction and make sure that you do your own word count before you submit. This box obviously can be expanded and will move as you fill it out, so please stay within there. It is also important to note that we are really emphasizing that proposals that describe how their strategy and how the identified activities impact an identified target audience. I'm going to scroll below into item B of this section, which shows you the target populations. This grant is intended to serve women and girls, but priority is being emphasized on specific demographic, race, ethnicity, and other factors in which women are more prominently underserved and impacted by COVID. So it is very important that you identify which target audience and populations you are planning to serve with your grant, and use this opportunity within your proposal where you submit your strategies to connect back to how this funding will improve and make an impact to the target audience you are identifying. The second to last section I want to go over is the budget. We are asking you to provide a short budget narrative to explain, why this funding is necessary and how it connects back to your proposed strategies. We also provided a cost sheet template here within the application. It's very important that for each funding category you are applying for to submit an individual cost sheet for each funding category. For example, if you are applying for capacity building and communications, you will be submitting 2 cost sheets, one for your proposed budget that's associated with your capacity building proposal, and a second cost sheet associated with your communications proposal. Please make sure that you completely label and identify this cost sheet and its association with your proposal and which funding categories that you are selecting. These are simple check boxes. You can mark it, not mark it. Basic salary, wages, benefits, supplies, materials. If you're re-granting, please let us know how much of the grant that you are requesting will go out the door to your sub-grantees. One point of clarification that did come up in one of the questions is the difference between direct services and re-granting. Direct services is implied for your existing program within your organization. For example, if you run, a food bank and you want to expand the amount of supplies to serve more women and girls, you can apply for the direct service to increase your supply, volunteer days, events, things of that nature that help directly support your target audience. If you're an organization that gives out grants, I'm going to use the example of domestic violence shelters, and you would apply for re-granting because you would be increasing the amount of funds out the door to improve and increase the impact that you're hoping to seek through that re-granting program. One last little piece on this cost sheet is I do have here an indirect cost rate. For those of you that have like a negotiated indirect cost rate with the state, we'd like for you to provide that documentation as well as, check that. If not, and if you have a question about that, please feel free to reach out. The last section to talk about is really the timeline of required activities. It's really important for us to provide information to you all in advance so you know what you're signing up for and you know what you're getting into with this grant program. This is not just money out the door. This is really an opportunity to foster a community of grantees who are working to improve the lives of women. We want to leverage this opportunity to engage in activities where we can amplify our voices, really deliver clear communication about our priorities for the future of women and girls. So we are going to be engaging in activities that include events, trainings. You're required to deliver progress reports. As provided here, we have the identified schedule. I will note that we will be supplying progress report templates to all of our grantees, and progress reports will also be required to submit expenditure statements with your progress reports. And again, we will template and provide you with how to deliver that information in a timely way. And so that really is the bulk of the application. We wanted to provide a streamlined, simplified way for folks to, for applicants to apply for this opportunity. And now, without going through all of the timeline details, I'm going to kick it over to my colleague, Tiffany Bartow, who is going to review some of the timeline aspects of this grant program, as well as the proposal review and selection process. So with that, Tiffany, I'm going to move it back over to the slideshow and kick it to you.
Thank you, Holly. It looks like you guys have a lot of questions in the chat, and we're getting those caught up, and hopefully we are answering the questions as we go. And as we are presenting the information to you, those questions are getting answered. So thank you for your patience. I'm going to cover the selection process right now. And so you all should know that the rater, we have staff who's going to be rating all of these sheets for the funding category with the proposal using a specific sheet, which you will see shortly. The final scores for each of the proposed categories are ranked with a specific funding category, which is numerically driven. So again, there will be no notes taken. It's not, qualified by any type of notes that we can, match it to. It's strictly ranking it by numbers. So the funding decisions are based again in this rank proposal category for funding, which you will see in the next sheet, and to consider your priorities or your geographical distribution that's specific to this grant funding opportunity. Next slide, please. And here's the rating sheet, which we spoke about. We will be filling this out specifically, and you can see here it has the organization, you'll be with the proposed title, the category, oops, came off, there we go, the category funding. So on this sheet, please be specific to, sorry, this is popping in and out. It can't be a Zoom meeting if we don't have something going wrong. So please bear with us. So for this section specifically, you all should know that the categories here will be individually scored. So if you have a capacity building, you're going to have to go through this specific, and it will be scored specifically on capacity building. For communications, it will be scored specifically for communication and so forth, community engagement, direct services, regranting, with the total points possible, which you see here for the identified need, the plan, the targeted audience, and the budget. And so there will also be, just so you guys know, an opportunity for half points. And when I say by half points, if you're making this, just an example on capacity building, and you're almost here on describing your, geographic service area, and it matches a little bit. So, points can be given on the half scale, which you should be aware of that as well. I think someone did raise a question. I want you guys all to know, if you have this capacity, because I think some of you may be worried about, hey, it's only 1,000 words, or it's just at 1,500 words, please, attach another form and make sure you put on here plan, target audience, the 1,000 words, so you can expand a little bit more. I think you guys are really concerned about, I have more to say than just the 1,500 words, that's the capacity, but please don't feel like you need to cut yourself short. If you have more that you'd like to add, more is better for us, so you can be very descriptive in what you're trying to achieve here. This is the rating sheet. We may answer some of these questions on the very end of this section, because I know this is very important to all of you. Next slide, please. The final requirements for all of this, as you all know, once the selection for the funding has been completed, you will be required to provide some final documentation before the award is given out. So this will also include, at minimum, one letter of support from a local leading organization or an elected representative. You will also be required to participate in a virtual interview. Will be nothing like an hour, hour and a half. It'll be a virtual interview, so we can really get to know what you are supporting, how are you going to support this, and any questions that you may have. Any final documentation that may be required for us to process the award will also be included in that as well. So kind of look at this section for your final requirements as a three-part. Again, the letter of support, your participation in a virtual interview, and then anything that we may need for you to get this process. So your tax filing status, or fiscal sponsorship documentation, so forth. So it is not a one catch all. We won't have it be like that. It'll be specific to, maybe you may have, fiscal sponsorship documentation we need. Someone else may have a tax ID, filing information that we need, or filing status, that we may need from you. So we will reach out to you individual for those specific documents that are required for processing. Next slide, please. And here again, I think Holly already hit on this, but I'd like to go a little bit more in detail on the timeline of activities. Here, of course, we are in January and our application is open. You are actually in our live webinar right now. We will offer another one So closer to the end of the closing period, so that way if you have any follow-up questions towards the very end, we will offer that as well. I think Darcy did hit on us having this recording available to you all. Make sure that you can cover any of the questions. And again, please use the Grants at Women inbox to send your questions to, so we can flush those out for you. In February, February 4th, your applications are due. We will have a grant period here for review. And then the grant notification period. We will have a full commission meeting February 22nd to discuss this. And so we'll make sure that you guys all are aware of that process as well. In March, of course, it is Women's History Month. So please follow us on our website to see what activities we have coming up for women in March. The grant award and activities will commence through March. In April, we have a statewide blueprint webinar. So please look out for that upcoming. In May, you will have progress reports. I think someone did also hit on a question on the progress report. Those are a must, so we want to make sure that you get the template so you can provide us progress updates on how you're doing with those deliverables under your grant. We will also have some training provided to you as well, and that's in the works now. So advocacy day training, also a lobby day. So all of these are tentative dates that we have not worked out, but will be coming to you shortly. In June, of course, we have continued activities. Training, July, continued grant activities, DE&I, so diversity, equity, and inclusion training available to you all. In August, you will have continued grant activities, and then your second progress report is due. So if you guys have any questions on that, I think we will cover that in upcoming, but we will have the template again available to you all. The progress reports are a must for this grant opportunity. In September, of course, continued at grant activities. Into October, you will have your third report if that is due. November, you will have, again, a progress update report for us, and then we'll continue into the grant activities into December, and we all will work closely with all of those who've been awarded this grant to make sure that your reporting is timely. And if you have any issues with getting it to us on time, please communicate that with us as opposed to just not completing it at all. That's not optional for any of our grant awardees to not do any of the reporting. Next slide, please. That was your timeline. And FAQs, I just wanted to cover for you guys. I know there's a lot of questions here, but we do have frequently asked questions that we will update every week. Maybe if we can get a chance to do this as the questions pop up, it'll be more frequently than every week, but I encourage you all to check back with our website and see if we've updated those questions. So again, this is something that we have seen here, and I will list these out for you. How can I submit my proposal? Darcy did a wonderful job of going over those instructions in our portal where you can upload this information that we need. When are your applications due? 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, February the 4th. And I realize that this will be a little bit encompassing for a lot of people to get these things, together and sent to us. Please communicate with us so that way we understand if there's some technical difficulties, we'll be able to work with you to make sure you get your information to us timely. So again, February the 4th is your deadline for applications to be due. When will I know if my application has been accepted? You will get an official legal applicant notice to you in writing via email for your funding once you receive your letter from us. Of course, we have a couple steps to go before you will get that acceptance letter. Please be patient with us. It is a process, so it's not like you guys submit your application and then you call us, Wednesday, Friday, you're like, where's my money? So it takes us a little bit of time to get you there, so please be patient with us. Who do I contact if I'm having technical issues with submission? Please, 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 again, use the grants@women.ca.gov. I wish there was a song for it. I do not want to get it mixed up with the info@women because that is something very separate and it will not be answered as quickly as it will be for your grants@women. So some of you guys may have some duplicate questions and we just want to make sure that we cover those for you today, as well as not covering anything today. Please send it and we'll get to it as quickly as possible. How can I submit supplementary materials with my application? So the submission portal allows for up to 5 individual submissions per item, so limit that to 293 megabytes. Some of it may be really large and it's difficult to go through, and it probably won't if it's too large, but please communicate that with us and we can see what we can do to make sure that the information you're submitting is submitted to us timely and before the deadline. So again, a little bit of this is just to highlight for you things that we have already heard from you all on some frequently asked questions. And this frequently asked questions fact sheet will go up and update every week. So don't feel like, hey, you didn't answer my question. we will make sure that we're managing this as quick as possible.
Sort of process. Let me know if we missed any of those. Otherwise, I think we are at the end of the question. 10 pages of questions.
Yes, and to close us out, I am going to launch a very quick poll, 3 questions based on this training. If you are still interested and plan to apply, if so, what category and how helpful was this training? Before I launch that poll, or as I launch this poll, I also just want to reinforce a few things. One, you've heard it, and yes, Tiffany, we will make a song of it. grants@women.ca.gov. That is your friend. Please use it and let us know what other questions you have. We are going to post this FAQ, updated FAQs based on the questions asked today and continuing questions that come in. We are also going to have one more webinar training on February 1st at 2 p.m. We will send out a registration link for that. It'll be on our website, much like this one. So again, I am really unbelievably excited by the level of interest, input, and opportunity to have here to run this new grant program. I'm so excited on behalf of all of our commissioners and our staff that, to see what you are proposing, to hear about these ideas. I think it will foster a lot of creativity, collaboration, and most importantly, impact for women who need it most. So with that, I'm going to let the poll run for maybe 30 more seconds before I close it out, and wishing you all a very great day, great week, and we will certainly be in touch. So I'm going to end my poll, wish you all well, and conclude today's training. Thank you everyone so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Holly, just give me a second and install archiving in the chat. It was very active.
I'm gonna, Tiffany, can you stay on with Darcy too? Okay. I'm just individually doing this, so hold on one sec.
All good. No worries, Nancy, we got it. Hey, you're not the one who showed your notes to everybody. That was me. Is it not working? There we go.
So I have to individually report, like remove everybody and make sure they're not reported as like bad people. So
Nice.
okay, it's just the three of us. We're-
Teams has ruined me.
hold on, I'm gonna stop recording. Not my video. I meant recording. Okay, hold on. How do I
You
stop?
guys, I'm so sorry. Team